Amin is seeking asylum in Australia. The activist fled Iran this year after a clash with plainclothes police in a public park.
They pushed me, pepper spray in my eyes. I was so angry. They watched my face and I had some battle with them. So I'm really scared of near the place.
Amin took part in anti-government protests last year over the death in custody of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, who was detained for wearing improper hijab. After this year's run-in with police, Amin feared arrest.
They want to catch me. I'm really scared, and so I never go back. I never go back to that place. My family have it. Well, all of my family, my mother, my father, in the past, or my sister have act about fight with the government in the 40 years. And we have a lot of battle with this government. And I'm really worried about my family.
In the relative safety of Australia, Amin also fears for those he left behind.
I'm really sad about my country, about my young person in my country. I'm really sad and I'm really angry. You can't be happy in my country because all the time you think about bad things. You never see around you the person have a smile in your face because they have too much problem in their life. And I'm really sad, and actually more than my sad, I'm really angry.
But not all protesters in Iran are able to flee. Javad Rui was arrested during the protests. The 35-year-old died in hospital last month after suffering a seizure in prison.
He was tortured while in detention. He was severely beaten and sexually assaulted. And we know that he had no pre-existing health conditions.
Many protesters remain behind bars. Some, like Jamshid Chamat, face harsher penalties.
My greatest fear for my dad at this moment is that the Islamic regime is going to execute him.
An outspoken dissident, the 68-year-old American resident has been detained since 2020 and sentenced to death for corruption on earth. His location is unknown.
He's been in solitary confinement for 3 years. It's torture. It's absolute torture to be in solitary.
It's a punishment Australian academic Kylie Moore-Gilbert knows too well.
I had static noise that was coming into my cell, exposed to such a confined space. Your brain can't handle it.
Amnesty International will report on Iran's human rights abuses next week and says this month authorities are targeting dissenters.
Amnesty is witnessing a lot of harassment of the families of those who have been killed during these protests. So we have documented them being surveilled. We have documented them actually being detained and charged.
Amin fears he can never return to Iran. Despite the risks, he refuses to stay silent.
The world needs the kindness, and we must help together. I want to do that all my life because I want my country to be free.
Alan Lee, SBS World News.